Hey everybody, I'm Kalila Reynolds and welcome to another live edition of Taking Stock, where we're bringing you all the latest business news and telling you how it will affect you and your money. Now, I want you guys to remember to head over to KalilaReynolds.com. You can subscribe to the newsletter. You also got to go to moneymission.mn.co and join the Money Mission. We want to keep everything going. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, let me know in the chat right now, where are you joining us from? I want to know in the comments, what part of the country, what part of the world are you in right this very moment? Now, we've got a great show lined up for you guys. So here's a look at what's coming up in tonight's show, followed by what's hot in business. And of course, come on, let's get this money.
Digital wallet provider Lynk is making it easy to do all your cash transactions online, and NCB is encouraging their customers to use Lynk as a payment option. Is a cashless society the way to go, especially in light of recent robberies of Beryllium trucks? Chief Product Officer at Lynk, John Matthew Sinclair, joins us to discuss. And the Analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. Grace Kennedy, Wisynco and Seprod results are out. How did they perform? And MPC Caribbean Clean Energy is reorganizing the company's operations. We'll discuss. But first, here's what's hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart. The Ministry of Tourism says Jamaica has welcomed 1.5 million visitors since the start of the year. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett said Jamaica has earned over $1.6 billion in the first 5 months of the year from visitors, stopovers, and cruises. The minister said that the current year-to-date figures show that Jamaica hit this target ahead of the projections. Dequity Capital is expanding its footprint in the medical industry with the acquisition of Winchester Surgical and Medical Institute. The acquisition was made through Dequity's portfolio company, Royal Medical. Dequity said the transaction allows the Westmoreland-based Royal Medical to expand its footprint into the corporate area. Winchester will become the second company under Royal Medical's umbrella. Stationery and Office Supplies Limited has recorded its highest ever quarterly revenues. The company, which manufactures Seek notebooks, brought in $519 million for its first quarter, which ended March 31st. The company also recorded $108 million in profit for the quarter. The company said sales from its Seek brand and its new furniture line, Evolve, were the main driving forces behind the company's historic performance. Twitter has a new CEO. Elon Musk announced last week that he would be stepping down from the position and named businesswoman Linda Yaccarino as his successor. According to Musk, Yaccarino will focus primarily on business operations while he deals with product design and new technology. The change in leadership comes as the social media company faces a list of growing issues. Advertisers have been leaving the platform in waves following controversial policy changes and service disruptions. What's Hot was brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart. This segment of Taking Stock is brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, insurance made easy.
All right, before we get into our main discussion tonight, let me shout out some of our viewers, especially those of you who joined us early. Kish was one of the earliest, says, good night, money makers. Navarra says, let's get this money. LGTM. Who else we have? Sean says, let's get this money. You're the money queen. Thank you, Sean. Sherdeen joining us from St. Thomas. Nano Sense, as usual, coming in from far, far away. Coach is all the way in Atlanta. We have Ray in Fort Lauderdale and a bunch of other people who are on. Anthony says Portmore in the building. Something in my throat. That was a legitimate clear throat just now. All right, so let's get into it. Digital wallet provider Lynk is making it easy to do all of your cash transactions virtually, meaning you don't have to walk around with cash. They've been around now for over a year. And now we see where NCB is encouraging their customers to use Lynk as a payment option. So this has become a highly contentious issue, not Lynk specifically, but this move towards cashless society, all the talk about cashless society. I saw somebody on TikTok doing a video saying the government wants to ban cash. And I'm like, when did they say that? The video started out saying Andrew Holness said he's going to ban cash. I'm like, that's not true. And the video has over 100,000 views and everybody in the comments agreeing. And of course, there's all the conspiracy theories. So we want to talk about this and more, of course, developments with Lynk as well. Is this the way to go? Let's welcome back John Matthew Sinclair, who is the Chief Product Officer at Lynk. Hi, John Matthew. You're muted.
Hey, Kalila, how are you doing? Thanks for having me again.
I'm doing well, but not as good as you, because you guys are growing a lot.
We are. Oh. The reception has been amazing so far.
That's great. It's been more than a year now since you launched, right?
16 months. Well, 15 months since we launched. We launched December 2021.
And how has your first official full year in business been?
It has been a roller coaster of a ride. To date, we have about 220,000 customers on the platform. We have onboarded roughly about 5,000 micro merchants. And recently, we launched our business platform. And why? Because when everybody onboarded, they said, I like Lynk, but where can I use it? So we decided to launch our merchant platform, which was launched at Jam Expo 2 weeks ago. And we have onboarded about 150 merchants in the pilot. And we have some popular merchants on the pilot now. There's Seven Crave, C Sports. If you watch football, you can benefit from the streaming service from C Sports. We have Ship Me, Rocket Ship, Press, and quite a few others on the platform now where you can go. Cafe Blue recently launched last week, Friday. So we have quite a number of merchants on the platform now where you can go and utilize Lynk and purchase your day-to-day goods.
That's great. And I saw that with Seven Crave probably a couple months ago now. I went to order something on the app and I saw Pay with Lynk. I'm like, okay, moves being made. And you're absolutely right. So one of the things that I think that has held you back, and others in the ecosystem as well, is where can we spend the money? We have the digital money in our Lynk wallets, but I can send money to you, you can send money to me. But what I really want money for is to buy things. And if you don't have merchants, then what's the point?
So we looked at our journey in multiple ways. The first way was how do you get funds into the wallet? And luckily for us, we have a partnership with NCB where we got access to the ABMs. So it means that you can walk up to an ABM now without having a bank account, without having an NCB account, and without having a card. Walk into the ABM with your cell phone and you can interface with it and you can cash in and cash out. That was a game changer. The second thing we said is, based on our target market, we're focusing on the unbanked and the underbanked and the people who are very transaction heavy with cash. Because Lynk is a cash replacement app. And we realized that remittances played a major part in this arena. So we partnered with MoneyGram in March to launch remittances, and we've been doing very well with them so far. Processed over $100 million worth of transactions through MoneyGram, through Lynk. And the news is out, but we are in the process, pending regulatory approval, to sign a deal with GK and Western Union to also offer Western Union services through Lynk. But that's just the funding journey. And of course, if you're a bank customer, you can utilize your credit card or your debit card to cash into Lynk. Now, as you said, once you get in, you can do a couple of things. You can buy credit. 95% of Jamaicans are prepaid, so we do buy a lot of airtime and we buy a lot of data plans. You can pay bills. We have bills to pay every month, so you don't need to walk into a payment aggregator. No, you can just sit down at home and for those of us who utilize cash, you can now utilize Lynk and pay your bills. And of course, you can send money to anybody on the platform. So we launched those things recently. And then we decided that it's time for us to unlock the merchants. And that's where we're going to start to grow the ecosystem. And we looked at some key merchants that we wanted to onboard. Merchants that were online, specific like a Seven Crave and a C Sport. And merchants that had in-person payments, like Cafe Blue and Rocket Ship, Ship Me. And based on that, now we got a lot of feedback from the platform of over 150. We're doing very well on UA Campus through Campus Foods. So, the UA students are loving the platform, and obviously they're sending a lot of money. You're right.
I'm not surprised that the younger demographic is gravitating towards it much faster.
They're an excellent testing ground for us, and they do provide a lot of feedback, and they have a lot of activities up there now that they're routing through Lynk. Because cash in itself has its challenges. It's a bit unsafe. You can't walk around with too much cash. You're going to feel a little unsafe. It is a bit cumbersome as well, and it's usually face to face. I have to see you to give you the cash, and especially for the cash heavy and cash centric people, having a digital solution that is easy for them to onboard with is a plus, and that's where Lynk comes in. So we have now launched our outside of remittances, which was launched in March. We have now launched our merchant platform, and we want you to expect us, follow us, watch this space, but you're going to see some key merchants coming on board. So I know that there's an open chat here, but I would like to ask you to, you can simply post some merchants that you'd want to see linking. I will take those, bring it back to the team, and we'll start to reach out to those merchants. So you can spend Lynk at your favorite watering hole.
I love that. Yeah, use the audience, guys. He wants to know, where do you want to see Lynk available? So let's take a couple steps back and take some questions from our audience. This one comes from Gada Mullings, who wants to know, how does this Lynk work from someone visiting or for someone visiting from overseas? What are the requirements to sign up?
All right, so that's a really good question. And let me start with, we are regulated by the Bank of Jamaica. Which is good because there is a lot of customer protection built into the Regulatory Act. As it stands now, to sign up for Lynk, you're going to need to have a TRN and a government-issued ID. That's your passport, Jamaican passport, driver's license, voter's ID. We are looking to build out the infrastructure to onboard non-Jamaicans where you can use a social security number. But as it stands now, you're going to have some type of Jamaican-issued credential, which would be driver's license, voter's ID, passport, and a TRN, and of course your face, and then you can get into Lynk.
Okay, so if he's a Jamaican living overseas but visiting Jamaica, and if he has a Jamaican ID, passport, driver's license, anything, you can still use your Jamaican ID and gain access. Javon wants to know, what are the requirements to open a merchant Lynk account?
Okay, excellent question. So what you're going to need is a TCC. And if you don't have a TCC, just show us that you have a letter of application for the TCC. You're going to need a company certificate, articles of association, and proof of a bank account. And the bank account can be anywhere locally. Once you have those things, you can open a Lynk merchant account, and you'll be able to unlock multiple channels with that. One, of course, there's scan and pay, so you get a QR code which allows you to scan Lynk. And also Jamdex. We do offer Jamdex on our wallet. We're the first and only wallet at the moment now to offer Jamdex payments, both on the merchant side and on the consumer side. And then, of course, we have APIs that will allow you to integrate into your website or your app if you have one.
How is that going with Jamdex? Are people using it?
So people are curious. We're not getting the usage as we would have hoped based on the public-private partnership that we have with the government. But now with the incentive program that has come into play via Nigel Clark's office and the Bank of Jamaica, where the first 10,000 merchants to sign up for a digital wallet, and this could be through Lynk and any other wallet provider in the space. I know JN is coming out soon, and you accept 5 Jamdex payments, you will qualify for $25,000 in Jamdex as a beneficiary payment. So what we're seeing now is we have multiple partnerships out there to bring on the merchants. Once you're in, we'll sign you up, get you activated. Once you accept the payments, your information will go over to the Bank of Jamaica, and the benefits will be paid out. So the traction is slow, but with the incentive program, we expect a ramp up very soon.
I think it's a little bit tricky for people to understand, like, what's the difference in using Jamdex versus just funding Lynk from your bank account.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Lynk is by the regulator defined as e-money, and e-money is what we know today. It's fiat that has been digitized. It's based on cash value, so there's physical cash that backed e-money, and it's usually backed by a commercial bank. So when you get paid to your bank account, that's based on e-money, and then you can utilize a debit card or a credit card and spend. And again, that's e-money. CBDC now is digital currency. It was never backed by cash, and it is also not backed by the commercial bank, but it's now backed by the central bank. So the regulatory requirements and protection that CBDC provides is different from e-money, which is provided by a private institution like a commercial bank. So there is a difference. The government will issue Jamdex CBDC similar to how they issue cash, and the expectation is that it should be distributed across the network for all Jamaicans to benefit from it. And Jamdex itself comes with some benefits you get if you're a consumer and you spend Jamdex between now and March 31st, 2024. You get 2% cash back on all your payments up to $5,000. You don't get that with cash. You don't get that with e, so you get that with Jamdex. So that's a big benefit that the government is putting out there. So there's one benefit for the merchants and another benefit for the consumers.
That is a nice incentive. I don't know how I've been, late on following up on some of these new developments. But once that promotional period is over, what really is the benefit of using Jamdex as opposed to just using e-money?
So let's look at it as options, right? So what Jamdex gives the market is interoperability. So Lynk has a wallet that offers Jamdex. JN is launching a wallet that will also offer Jamdex. And other banks and other fintechs will be launching different applications that can also utilize Jamdex. The beauty about it is that irrespective of the platform that you're using, irrespective of the wallet that you have, once we are in Jamdex enabled, we can communicate, we can speak, we can share money. So Jamdex brings interoperability to the market. E-money itself is proprietary. So Lynk can only send to Lynk, and you can only shop with Lynk money at a Lynk merchant. With Jamdex, if there's a Jamdex enabled merchant who was onboarded by some other institution and you have a Jamdex wallet, you can use it. So what I would say is that it's about having options. Similar to how some people in the wallet they have a credit card from one institution and a bank account at another institution. It's just options that you want to utilize to spend. And you might be getting Jamdex for path payments. You might be getting Jamdex for some type of government incentive. So you have access to your Jamdex, and now you want to utilize it along with your e-money, along with your credit card. So, the government has given us the opportunity to innovate and the opportunity to provide the market with options so that you can spend, whichever channel you feel comfortable using.
Yeah, you explained it beautifully just now. I feel like we need to get that out there more for people to truly understand what it is, because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the concept of digital money. Like, it's not like I understand e-money. My money is in the bank. I can get it out at any time, hold it in my hand. But digital money now, Jamdex, central bank digital currency, CBDC, I can't see or feel it ever.
You can't. You won't. I mean, you can. We allow it to cash it out, but essentially it sits with the central bank. So, not to get too techie, but it sits on what they call a digital plate, which is just a server that has the money on it. And this is managed and controlled by the central bank in partnership with the commercial banks. But at the end of the day, the funds really sit with the central bank and are protected by the central bank. So, it can't die unless the central bank goes away. And I don't think they're going anywhere for now.
Let me give you a comment here from one of the viewers just to demonstrate the point. QB Quillholic says, this world is propelling into a realm of unknown fueled by lies and illusions. I mean, at least fiat money is tangible. What now? They'll just literally pull money from thin air?
So, and that's a valid point. So let's not look at Jamdex like cryptocurrency, which is that I don't know what that's based on a lot of assumptions. In this case, the central bank has a facility to create money, similar to what they do now with cash, but they're creating a percentage of that. Not all of it will be done in cash. Some of it will be done in Jamdex, and that will be available for distribution. But again, it is owned and managed by the central bank. I can't get up and mint, $1 million worth of Jamdex like that. It's just like, I can't really go and print money. It has to come from some central source. In this case, it is our regulator, the central bank. So there is a lot of management and control around how much money is in the ecosystem, how it can be spent, and how it will be managed. So, it is scary. It is fairly new, but it's the way the world is going. And if we have another session in the next 10 years, Khalila, I'm sure we're going to be, cash might be a thing that is in the history books. We're like, cash, I can't tell when else I use cash. There are some countries now that just like China, where, of course, they're totally different setup, but it's very difficult for you to utilize cash in China and even some of the other parts of the first world. So things eventually will propagate, and we'll be utilizing a lot of digital means for distribution.
Same. I barely use cash anymore. It's just much more convenient for me. So more, speaking of cash though, Tiwi wants to know, do you plan to make ATM cash in out accessible at other banks' ATMs?
Tiwi, very good question. We would love to expand the Lynk network and even the Jamdex network across the bank. So because the central bank also regulates the commercial banks, the assumption is that they will enable Jamdex at their ABMs at some point in time. Lynk, though, as a private entity, we are looking to expand our network outside of just the ABMs. So the ABMs have limitations. They run out of cash quite quickly now. Sometimes they don't work, especially at the end of the month. So we're looking at other means and other channels to allow for cash in, cash out. So we're going to be building our agency network soon, where you'll be able to walk into authorized, areas that are certified to distribute funds, and you can literally walk in there and cash in, cash out.
All right, Gada has another great question. He wants to know, can you tell us about the security of Lynk? Are there any insurance on funds in Lynk account? If so, what are the insured limits?
Okay, so let me start with the first question, which is security. So Lynk is built on security, and that's because we deal with money. We deal with people's money, and we are trying to onboard individuals who are already digital skeptics, right? They're very cash based. You can tell them now that they can put money on their phone. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? How safe is this thing? So the app itself, the center of the app is the customer, and we look at the needs and the value stream of each customer. And what we noticed is that outside of convenience, safety, and speed, security was one of the big pillars that we had to address. So I built, encryption. We utilize biometric facilities. We have, anti-money laundering screening. We have all these different things, that allow the app to be tamper-proof, so that somebody, if somebody is even attempting to hack the app, it responds in a way that says, "Look, I don't know. This is strange behavior. Let me do something else." So I'll give you an example. If I happen to phish, Khalila's credentials from whichever means, sweet her up, I get her information, username and password, and I try to log into with her credentials, and my device is going to say, I know this account, but I've never seen this device associated with the account before. So before we allow you to log in, let me see your face. And it's going to launch an experience in the app that says, let me show me your face so I can compare the face that I'm about to capture with the face that I captured during onboarding. I don't look like Khalila, so it's not going to allow me into the app. Likewise, if you're doing transactions that are of high risk, it's going to also prompt you to show your face, enter your PIN, or do some action that only you know about before it commits that transaction. So we build a lot of security around the technology, and we build a lot of security around the experience and usage. Now, in terms of insurance, no, so we're not a bank, and so we have no banking insurance. What we have to rely on is the fact that we have so much security in the app that you have to trust that nothing will happen to your money. We have never had a case where somebody is out of pocket, and it will not happen, not under my watch. But there's no deposit insurance as yet for digital wallets. We're hoping that the regulations and the laws will change as digital wallets come on stream. We're still learning much about them. It's a transactional wallet now, so people don't store money in it. You fund it, you use it, and then the balance is usually zero. But as people start to use it more day to day, and people start to store funds in the wallet, we're going to be approaching the BOJ and the relevant authorities to see what type of insurance we can put in place now to add another level of protection for our customer base.
John Matthew, we have a whole heap of comments in the chat. I'm not going to be able to get to all of these questions. Questions and comments are both there, but I'm just going to have to try my best to filter out some of them. So sure. Craig has a question, and this is related to, you guys did have some issues about a month ago, and people were bashing you on social media. I know you had to take that heat. So Craig wants to know, what about the issue Lynk has been having? Access to funds, access to account across devices, issues when transferring between Jamdex and Lynk. How are you dealing with those issues? And what's the status of those issues now? Are you still having those issues?
Okay, so good question. So all the issues have been resolved. And as we build and learn, we're going to buck up on some hurdles that we need to cross. It's just a part of tech. The good thing is that we're built to respond quickly, and we're built to also identify these issues quickly. So some of them we identify immediately through our own channels, and some of them, of course, rely on our customers who are yes, disgruntled. But the beauty about it, what we have seen is, if customers complain about something, it means that they also care, right? Something could happen, they just leave it alone because they really don't care. So they do reach out to us, and we have our feedback channels to fix them. So the initial one was funding of the wallet. So there are multiple ways to fund the wallet. Some of the channels we don't control. Some of the channels are based on third-party integrations. So we do have to rely on the infrastructure of the third party to be up to speed, available 99.95% of the time, so that we can provide that service. So for some of the funding channels, we had some issues. We have spoken to our vendors and our partners to ensure that these things have been resolved. We have also built the app around identifying the issues and communicating much better to the customer when these issues do arise. So, you're funding your wallet through your NCB account. The funds don't reach. There is no message in the app. We have now fixed that to say that there is an error, you'll be refunded in X amount of time. We have been working close with the NCB to also refund these things within the SLAs that we have in place, because people never want to be out of pocket. The second one was with Jamdex. So there were some days recently where persons were trying to move their Jamdex to Lynk, and the conversions failed. That has also been addressed. Again, this was done through our commercial bank partner and the BOJ. We did a whole extensive exercise to get those resolved. And the last thing, of course, that I know about when we're getting a lot of heat, as Kalila would have mentioned, was the credit card situation, where we had delays in capturing, or what we would call settling credit card payments. So we had a number of customers who would have cashed in via their credit cards over a period. Whilst they got the actual money, we didn't settle on the credit card. And when that was discovered, we had to, in consultation with the commercial bank partner, that's NCB, and the other banks, the plan was that we had to delay the settlements. So what would have happened is, 3 weeks, 4 weeks would have passed, and now you start to see all these transactions just pile up as we settle. So it was a bad experience for the customers. And again, we do apologize in how it went down, but that was the only way that we could have recovered funds and ensure that the business can run, because we in this case were out of pocket, and we know that nobody likes to be out of pocket. But since then, we have put all of the systems in place to track, monitor, and ensure that these things never happen again.
So how long does it take to settle now?
It's immediate. Two things. The credit card settlement happens once you draw down on your credit card to fund the Lynk wallet. You do get the money immediately, and we do capture that file instantly. And then settlement through the commercial bank happens at the end of the day. But no, we are passing over that information to the commercial bank to ensure that the books are balanced. So these things happen now on a daily basis within the specified time of the SLAs between the card network and the commercial banks and the merchant. In this case, the merchant is Lynk. So these delayed transactions will not be happening again, not with us.
Well, Natoya has a question. What happens if the Lynk site goes down?
So
I guess your servers, I don't know what you use.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the servers, right? So the website going down still wouldn't happen, but we are built in the cloud, and there's a lot of redundancy around it. So if a server goes down, another one is made available. Depending on how many servers go down, we can literally automatically spin up services to make the services continuously available. And we have invested a lot of money in the infrastructure to ensure that we have redundancy in place. So to date, as we scale and grow the platform, it has never gone down before. We don't intend for it to go down, and we are continuously monitoring traffic. So we want more users on the platform. We have a target of 400,000 soon. We won't give you the exact date, but we're at 220. And based on this, our services are built for that type of capacity. So based on where we are now with cloud services, which are very reliable, we don't anticipate Lynk going anywhere, going down anytime soon.
So Elaine says, cashless is the new order of things. We moved from using silver and gold to paper coins for daily transactions. Swipe, link, and go. History repeating itself. And guess what? She also wants in on you, not you, John Matthew, but Lynk. She wants to know, when is the IPO? Is that in your plans?
So let me address one thing. So with Lynk, is not swipe and go. It's going to be tap and go. But do we have IPO inspirations? Naturally, we do. The company is built, and we want Jamaica to experience a piece of it. So as we grow the business and we hit the relevant targets, we do intend at some point in time to go public and allow customers to buy into this awesome organization.
At some point in time, so like no timeline, like
no timeline as it.
Dates,
No timeline as it. But just the more success we bring is the closer we are to an IPO. So just become a part of the network, become a part of the community, help us to be successful, so that one day you'll see the announcement that Lynk is about to go public, and depending on where you are, you invest and you help us to grow even further. We do have expansion plans though outside of Jamaica one day. So these will be some of the reasons why we'll definitely be seeking funding by IPO.
Well, before we go, I have one last issue to raise with you, because I've seen a few people raise it in the comments, and it's about your customer service. So I see some people saying that they're commending you for great customer service, but others have had a negative experience. And one of them is saying, where did the comment go? I can't find my, why is there not a customer service contact number for users to get issues resolved? And yeah, he's saying he had a bad experience. He had several other comments too.
All right, so that's something that we're looking into now. So in launching the business as a fintech, we decided that what we will do is utilize the digital channels, because they're cheaper and they're available 24 hours. So we have a WhatsApp and we have the chat. But we have learned that that's not, within the Jamaican context, that's not the best channel for customer service. So we're now investing in opening up the channels to allow for you to directly call us. You will get a human at the end of the phone call so that we can help to resolve the issues. We're putting in more systems in place so that our customer care team can also resolve the issues whilst you're on the phone or within the chat. So, I do apologize that, when we had launched a platform, we were very digital heavy, digital centric, because we were a fintech. But the beauty about it is that we live and learn. We don't know everything and we're not perfect, but we always use the opportunity to get the feedback, as we have been getting from the customer base, about what makes them comfortable, especially with an app that holds your money. You want to get back access, you want to learn things. Sometimes you want to speak to a human because you want your issue resolved by somebody. You want to speak to somebody to get the issues resolved. So we have a customer care team now that we're building out, along with the infrastructure, to allow you to make a phone call, to call us, to get in, have a conversation, and have your issues resolved with them.
So when will that be available?
Can't give you the date, but I want to say that by summer, you'll see a lot of changes, and summer is around the corner, right? I'm not saying like Christmas. Summer is a couple weeks away. So by summer, we're going to be building out that infrastructure for you, and we're also expanding our channels now so that you can have better service via WhatsApp and via a chatbot before we roll out the calling system, the phone system.
All right. Last comment, Strong Link says you really need to make it a strong link.
Yes, Mama. Yes, sir. Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you again, John Matthew. I hope to have you on again when you're doing your IPO, when you have some other updates for us.
Thanks for having me again.
Let me ask our viewers tonight's poll question. Would you use an e-wallet like Lynk? Yes, I already have, and I love it. Yes, but I don't like it. No, I don't trust Cashless. Still thinking about it, or other, leave a comment. Let us know. So this poll is available on YouTube and on Twitter. Would you use an e-wallet like Lynk? Yes, I already have, and I love it. Yes, but I don't like it. No, I don't trust Cashless. Still thinking about it, or other, just leave a comment and let us know what you think. And while you're at it, hit that like button. Up next, we've got your market recap, and the analysts are standing by.
This segment of Taking Stock was brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, Insurance Made Easy.
Hey moneymakers, join the KRM fam with our official merch. Get it now at KalilaReynolds.com. Let's get this money.
The JC Combined Index was mostly stable last week. 126 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the week ending Friday, May 12, 2023. 46 made gains, 67 lost value, and 13 stayed the same. 75 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at $299 million. Wigton was the week's most traded stock. It took up 20% of market volume with 15 million shares trading. The stock opened Monday at 76 cents. TransJamaican Highway traded at the second highest. The stock gained 3 cents to open this week at $1.82. And one-on-one rounded out last week's most traded, with 4 million shares changing hands. The stock lost 2 cents to open Monday at $1.13. Now let's see who had the biggest gains for the week. 138 Student Living Variable Preference was the week's biggest gainer. The stock was up 44% to open Monday at $150. Caribbean Assurance Brokers was the second biggest gainer. It went up 33% to start the new week at $2.65. And Everything Fresh was up 32% to open the week at $1.89. On the losing side now, JMMB 7.5% was last week's biggest loser, down 19%. The stock opened Monday at $1.01. Epley Caribbean Property Fund SCC fell 18% to open the new week at $36.08. And Consolidated Bakeries fell 15%, closing the week at $2.03. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index lost almost 3% last week. National Enterprises was the most traded stock. The stock's price was unchanged, opening this week at $3.74 TT. National Flour Mills was the market's biggest gainer, up almost 5%, to open this week at $1.57 TT. And on the losing side, NCB Financial fell almost 15% to open Monday at $3.50 TT. Over in the US, the Dow Jones lost 1% last week, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq remained stable. At the pumps, the price of 87 gas dropped $1.75 last week, while 90 dropped $1.73. Diesel prices, on the other hand, fell $4.50. In foreign exchange, it took an average $155.69 Jamaican to purchase $1 last Friday. That's $1.09 more than a week before. Meanwhile, it took an average $115.32 Jamaican to purchase $1 Canadian. 1 British pound cost on average $194.30 Jamaican, and you could buy €1 for $171.33 Jamaican on average. Finally, on the crypto markets, Bitcoin prices fell 1% over the past 5 days, with the cryptocurrency trading at $27,394 US on Monday. And Ethereum was also down 1%, trading at $1,824 US on Monday. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by Jamaica National Group. We'll help you find a way. Disclaimer. This is not intended as financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Welcome back, guys. It's almost time for the analyst, but I want to ask you first, are you a part of the Money Mission community? Because the community is on and popping. I've been live in there a lot over the past week. I'm going to be live in the Money Mission community again on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. And I just want to show you what we've been doing so far. So this was our live last night. The recording is still available. It looked black now, but when you click play, you actually see, what we were up to during that communication. We had a few new members introducing themselves. That's me with no makeup. Yeah, we had a few new people introducing themselves in the group. So this is what the feed looks like. Sashelle was asking what you guys think about container homes, and we had a lot of interaction on that. Several people expressing their comments. I said Dwayne posting an article there. Zane just introduced himself. Hi, Zane. Welcome to our newest member who joined today. Dwayne introduced himself yesterday. And you see a lot of cool stuff hanging there. Keisha, not our Keisha, a different Keisha, actually from Mandeville, from Manchester, wanted an opinion on buying shares in TJH. Yesterday it was at $2.01. And I saw that that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight on the show. So the feed is on and popping. The lives are on and popping. We have access to all of our main classes. So it depends whether you have the premium membership. You can access this one, Keisha's How to Find Great Companies. You can access the Build Your Budget Challenge, Debt Do-Over, Investing for Beginners, and of course the live Q&A with me. And then you have your free resources that even your basic membership allows you to access these. You have your documents, the broker guide, financial terms made simple, best credit cards that you guys always asking me for. Basically a pro course, how to read financial statements. There's just a lot going on. And like I said, I will be there again live in this community. And you have your chat feature. You can chat privately with each other or with me. So I'll be there again live to that Tuesday. So Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. And we get to have a nice one-on-one communication. Make sure you hit the link. I hope it's in the description. Producers, please make sure that you have the Money Mission link in the description every single week. Maybe right now we can pin it in the comments, and as soon as the show is over, you put it in the description, but it needs to be in the description right at the top every single week so that our Taking Stock community knows exactly where to find us. So let me know. Raise your hand in the comments if you are already a member of the Money Mission, so I can shout you out. Shouting out our foundation members. By the way, we were supposed to end the foundation member offer yesterday, Monday, but a lot of people have been asking me to extend it. So I'm going to extend it. I'm not sure how long yet, maybe till payday, because some people, they're waiting on that money to hit their accounts month end, which is in another, 9 days. So I'm probably going to extend it until at least then. I haven't fully decided yet, but let me know, when do you want me to extend it to? And let me know in the comments right now in the chat. If you're already a member of the Money Mission community, I'll say Money Mission, and I'm going to shout you out because I love to see our new members in the community, in the chat. All right, let's get into the analysts now. And it's time for our analyst. I'm joined by Senior Research Analyst at JN Group, Jamar Brown, and business writer at The Observer, David Rose. Welcome back, Jamar and David.
Good night, Kalila. Thank you.
Good night, Kalila.
So we got a lot to talk about. I'm not sure if we're going to get to all of these topics tonight, but let's see how many we can get through. Jamar, GK, Wisynco and Seprod results are all out. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, I'll start with GK. I should be sharing my screen. Can you let me know if it's visible?
There you go. Yes, it's there.
Okay, excellent. So tonight we won't be going as in-depth as we usually do. As you said, we'll be looking at 3 results from 3 or 4 main market companies. So we'll just be taking a quick glance through their financials, their recently released financials, and we'll begin with GK, as you said. So if we take a look at their Q1 2023 highlights, we see that revenues increased by 7.8%, up from 36.2 billion to 39 billion. Gross profit is up by 27%, increasing from 1.5 to 1.96 billion. Net profit up by 20.7%, increasing to 2.25 billion, which resulted in earnings per share increasing from $1.74 to $2.13. And GK's enhanced operating performance can be credited with the company's renewed focus on improving efficiencies, cost controls, and customer engagement, as well as improvements made in logistics and freight rates, which they anticipate will continue. Their food distribution and manufacturing business arms delivered strong performances in revenues and profits over the prior year. In particular, in January, a new high-low location was established in Negril, and this contributed to their strong performance by surpassing all their targets for the quarter. As it relates to their financial arm, this part of the business registered double-digit top-line growth, which was spurred by improved performance in its remittance, banking, and insurance segments. And despite the investment arm not doing so well, registering a decline in both revenues and profitability due to below par performance of the stock market, as well as non-recurring unrealized gains, which they did not realize in the first quarter. So yeah, that's it for GK really. We can't
Okay.
know. Right. So
Moving
we
on to
can't.
Wisynco. So I like that these three companies are related, like they're in the same industry,
Right. All
manufacturing and
manufacturing
distribution.
companies. Right. Exactly. Moving on to Seprod, we see their performance for Q1 was quite significant in terms of their growth in revenues. We see that revenues grew from 11.8 billion to 27 billion. Gross profits increased by 135% from 2.9 to 6.9 billion. Net profits increased 128% from 595 million to 1.35 billion, which resulted in earnings per share up by 65% from 81 cents to $1.34.
Nice.
And this revenue growth for Seprod was primarily driven by a 25% increase in their export sales, organic growth in the domestic market due to post COVID-19 recovery, and continued growth in demand in their Trinidad and Guyana markets. Profits were also positively impacted as the group transitioned to its new distribution campus, which eliminated over $300 million of extraordinary warehousing and logistic costs incurred due to the destruction of their main logistics center in 2021. That's it for Seprod.
Seprod looking good. All right,
Looking very
Wisynco.
good, actually. Right, finally, taking a look at Wisynco and their Q3 highlights. Now, they also saw improvement for quarter three of the financial year. Their revenues are up 23.4%, up by basically a billion from 3.1 to 4.1 billion. Operating profit up by 39.5% from 1.09 billion to 1.52 billion. Net profit up by 38.6%, increasing from 830 million to 1.15 billion, which resulted in earnings per share seeing an increase from 22 cents to 31 cents. Now, these positive results have been supported by the strong demand for Wisynco's products in all product channels. The company has taken steps to resolve some of the production challenges they faced in Q2, and they are seeing increased production, excuse me, to meet the increasing demand. Now, this is also helped by the capital expansion activities that are currently underway, which will see the installation of 3 new plants in the company's existing facility, along with factory and warehousing space expansion at their Lakes Pen plant. The operational flexibility and increased output, which should result from this expansion program, will ensure that the company meets the current demands of the local and exports markets and pave the way for additional capacity for growth and for future innovation in their varied product lines. They should actually be adding a product to their water line. But yeah, that's on the horizon for them. And that's it
Oh,
for
really?
Wisynco. Yeah.
There's new water product coming out. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So how do these three compare when it comes to dividends? Are these all good dividend-paying companies, given that they're doing fairly well?
Well, yes. Actually, GK should be paying dividends quite soon, actually. They released an interim dividend payment statement saying that they will make a dividend payment on the 16th of June 2023 of 50 cents per stock unit. Basically, a $495 million payment to their shareholders. So, yeah, that should be of note for investors.
For GK, you said.
Yeah, should be making a dividend payment quite soon.
Good stuff. What are their stock prices looking like? Are there any? What's your analysis there?
Well, in terms of Well, I know that Wisynco stock price should be at around $17.50, which should be quite attractive for investors. We recently did an analysis, which should be up on our website now, where we have a fair value price for Wisynco at around $20. So that should be a good prospect for investors. GK's price, which along with other blue chip companies, is quite depressed at the moment. They are at around 70 something dollars. So again, these companies are prime targets for investors who are looking to invest for the long term.
All right, a couple of comments. So Philip says, time for institutional investors to wake up and start buying, don't sleep.
That
And then
might already be.
Strong Link says, good also with Wisynco, all three companies positioning well for the bull run to come. Take heed, investors. Well, let's hear about a couple other companies that David has been tracking now. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about TransJamaican Highway. But before we get to that one, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, they're reorganizing. What's going on at that company, David?
Sure. So for one, GK is at $81.20. But with respect to MPC Caribbean, they're reorganizing or proposing a reorganization of the company and how structure is. So the way MPC was structured was that Caribbean investors, for example, me and you would actually purchase shares in MPC Caribbean Clean Energy through an IPO or on a regular market, and we'd get a stake in a business that owns an interest in our fund based in the Cayman Islands, which is what actually owned all the real estate assets. So Martin Vogt, that's his actual name when pronounced in German, it's VOGT, but when pronounced, he highlighted that in Cayman, the costs are quite astronomical. So just by executing this reorganization right now in its current form, they're looking to save about between $2 to $3.5 million US over the next 10 years, because that's just the cost to administer and keep the Cayman-based fund operational. So that's costs that are going to be still and going towards MPC Caribbean. So what will happen is that MPC, the actual fund manager, MPC Capital, they would get newly issued shares in MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, and MPC Caribbean Clean Energy to get their remaining 14% stake in the MPC Cayman Fund, and those under the MPC Cayman Fund will be transferred up to MPC Caribbean Clean Energy. You said it's an actual share, Kalila, you'd be quite confused.
I'm listening to you thinking, okay, round and around the mulberry bush. I'm kind of confused right now.
It's a lot of moving parts. Like it's a lot of up and down. Like if you saw that chart, it would be a lot worse. So I'm just trying to make it very simple as it should be. But to keep it simple, the way MPC currently recognizes the value of the fund is based on the quote-unquote fair value estimation. And this last year, it was a profit in the case of 2021 financial year. For 2022's financial year, they incurred a loss. And that's because of the change in the fair value. So now, when they actually take on these assets and put them under their own remit, it's going to be a different structure and entirely different business, because currently they don't generate revenue in a sense. The assets, so you have San Isidro in El Salvador, Tila Wind in Costa Rica, I probably mixed those two a while ago, Monte Plata in Dominican Republic, and Paradise Park here in Jamaica. They have interest in all of those energy assets. And those assets generated about $21 million US worth of revenue last year, and about 15.46 million of EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. After you account for their respective interest in the assets, it was around $5.09 million in EBITDA. So after adding those other costs and so on, it's going to come down a little bit further, but in all aspects, it's likely to lead to using MPC having consistent profitability going forward. And Martin, kind of highlighted that this actually puts him in a better position to continue in the future to actually consider a capital raise where investors are confident in the structure of the business, because the business you're buying into, and which is on the JSC, TTSC, is not the one that actually owned the assets. It owned a stake, a fund that owned the assets. So now you're going to have that transparent process, and you can actually see everything clear as day.
All right. So bottom line, David, break this down for us. What does all of this mean for our pocket?
So for shareholders who are actually buying the shares right now, with the stability going forward, they should actually expect to have some consistent dividends coming in. They only paid one dividend to date, and since then, nothing since then. So now, with let's say the costs from Cayman plus the ability to actually get the income from these renewable assets, this is the ability that can be just like a Wigton, but having that regional diversification element to it.
All right, good. Another dividend play. I said Tremaine said, what Tremaine said? Tremaine says, I love dividends. Speaking of dividends, another very good dividend paying company is TransJamaican Highway. And this was a hot topic inside the Money Mission community this week. David, by the way, I need to invite you into that community. You're getting a special invite. You too, Jamar, no worry. You guys are getting a special invite into the community. All of our regulars on the show gonna get a special invite. Anyway, so this was a hot topic. People were asking about it because the stock price surpassed $2, I think, for the first time ever this week.
Correct.
I know David always has the stats, so you can correct me. You said you're correct. All right, good. Finally surpassed $2, and that's right on the heels of their first quarter financial results coming out. What are the highlights? What can you tell us?
So revenue from TransJamaican Highway was up 21%, which just reflecting the apart from having just increased costs for toll, more persons driving on the road without any restrictions. So there's no curfew, none of that, no this, that. People just drive and go about their lives. Persons have the ability to go to school and so forth. So it's a 21% increase in revenue, $17.99 million US. Call it around probably, I think, like 30 billion or 3 billion, something around that range, JMD. But otherwise speaking, when it comes on to net profit now, that's where everybody was like, whoa. So in the case of TransJamaican Highway, their net profit increased on $674,000 US to $4.98 million US.
Oh, wow, indeed.
Basis.
So that means a nice dividend is coming.
So let me explain what happened there. So for those who don't know, TransJamaica has the right, to operate the highway, but just like in this world, now and all the time you actually take up something, you actually do it on your own recourse. So GIO was actual business that was actually operating, like the toll booths and those other operations that you actually be seeing. So any persons, for example, coming to see persons, if they had a flat tire or something like that, that was really GIO, and they were being paid some significant fees. In December, TransJamaica Highway got 51% of GIO. They were call option remaining on the other 49%, and they, amended the fee structure and everything else. And the result of all of those changes is that it's going to result in $12 million US worth of savings to TransJamaican Highway. So
nice.
If you're seeing basically dollars US in this Q1, remember, Easter just happened. We're going into summer. We're not facing this nasty gas price situation that we saw last year. So persons have a little bit more inclination, to potentially travel. So you are looking at some significant growth potential going forward. And the
new leg is making great progress. I drive that highway at least twice a week, sometimes 4, 5, 6 times a week. But factoring to and fro, going and coming, and it is coming along very nicely. Have they given us an updated timeline for the new leg to be completed?
So it's supposed to be completed by summer, probably September, October. So the thing is, while highway might be completed by that, actually the leg of that highway may be completed by that period, when THH actually starts to operate it, is a different story. So they have the right of first refusal, meaning that they can actually say, hey, we want, this leg to operate, and they're going to negotiate with NROC, because was the one who developed that leg. We're not specifically sure in terms of how that process goes in terms of securing those rights, but yeah. So if you look at TransJamaican Highway's actual balance sheet, you don't necessarily see an asset, tied to the highway itself, physical highway. What you see is an intangible which represents their right to operate the highway for an extended period of time. So you see 208.67 US as an intangible asset relating to their right to operate the highway. But as each year progresses, that asset decreases in value. So what happens basically is that TGH goes to the negotiating table, pays NROC, I believe it's NROC in this case, a fee or an amount, right to operate, this leg of the highway. At that point, TJ should have another 50 kilometers of basically roadway to operate for its operations. So that's really what happens. So if you're going to look at the balance sheet right now, you're not going to see PPE in the sense of, it's a highway on their balance sheet. No, it's the right to operate the highway. And the thing is that the new leg of the highway is just one part of TJ's overall, plans to grow further. So, for example, when you come off on the Spanish Town Highway, for example, or Spanish Town bypass, and you're going to Old Harbor Road, there's a lot of traffic. With all these developments going on right now, Bernard Lodge and so forth, TransJamaica Highway is considering to develop, actually in progress right now, is consultation, interchange lanes. So instead of you actually coming off by, let's say the Spanish Town bypass and you're stuck in traffic, you can actually park closer to your, location, like where you live in a sense, and of course all the traffic all together. So that would basically bring new customers who would say, I'm not going to use the highway. It's not within range for me to actually be interested to drive it. So that's something taken into context. So,
okay. So, but what's the likelihood of TransJamaica operating that leg that you said NROC will have charge of?
It's highly likely, Khalila, because...
All right, exactly. So you're saying a whole lot to say that they're still, it's still very likely.
No, they have to go through the process. They have to go through the formal process. It's like they're going to likely operate it for sure, but it's for it to actually be completed and for them to say shareholders and the public, we have the right to operate this leg. So we're going to start operating it. So that's what kind of helps. And the thing is that GIO is TJ is no longer paying GIO any fees to operate the highway. But because GIO is now a subsidiary of TJH, it is eliminated on consolidation. So that $4.3 million worth of expenses that was there last year, it's just gone. And the thing is,
so I guess that's what shareholders were responding to this past.
But Khalila, there's something else that people don't know about.
What's that?
If persons look at the annual report and looks at the notes to the AGM, TGH has a resolution 6, which is a special resolution item where they're proposing to amend their articles to give way for an open market share buyback.
Why would they do that?
So under their current articles, the way a buyback would technically have to occur is whereby they have to make a tender offer to all shareholders, to offer their shares to them for them to buy it back. But the way our share buyback programs typically work is that it's an open market share buyback where, the company through its broker just buys shares directly off of the market and then cancels those treasury shares.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, expected that you're not going to get approved, but if TJ says, hey, based on, this excess cash that we have on our books and everything, it has potentially considered the opportunity to buy back shares off the market. And we saw it today, even where Signal says share was confirmed, and the market reacted heavily towards that. It's like even halted up earlier today. So you have the share back in the case of TGH if they decide to use it, interchange lanes, and the new leg of the highway. So you have so many things going on for TGH right now, and you saw back in March where You had a director buying 20 million shares alone at $1.35. You understand? And you had other parties buying like 70 million shares within like that same week span. So you are definitely seeing some significant and renewed interest in TJH following the last 2 COVID years, which have suppressed the price. And you saw today where TJH hit $2.20 on the JSE, which should have been a significant return for investors, basically 50% to be held from IPO. And so at that point, but the fact is TJH is giving 7% dividend yields before this current price run up. So all its potential excess cash and potentially higher dividend in the future and maintaining this current yield, it's going to be very good for shareholders, who have been buying consistently at those lower prices and investors buying potentially in these current prices, because if the company is maintaining this kind of 5 to 7% yield and they have newly coming on stream and interchange lanes, then this is a strong dividend stock. And this is Jamaica. And we're also hearing, from the government that they actually want to develop from Williamsfield in Manchester to St. Elizabeth. So you're basically having this lovely, connection on the south coast that, TJ should have the ability to operate uninterfered, just continuously.
Yeah, they want it eventually to just cover the entire island, just be able
Which
to
makes
drive
sense.
all around. Makes sense, yeah. And taking it one leg at a time. So we gotta go now, David. Thank you so much for that insight. Also, thank you to Jamar for your insight on the 3 manufacturing and distribution giants in Jamaica: GK, Wisynco, Seprod. Richard wants to know. Richard says, "I would like to invest in bonds in Jamaica. Please refer 1 or 2 really good investment houses that could help." Well, JN
Any
Fund
of them.
Managers.
Any of
JN
them.
Fund Managers is on with us tonight. So yeah, any
Yeah,
of
man.
them too. But link up Jamar.
Yeah, you can shoot me an email. My email should be in the description, all right?
Yeah, it is. All right. Thank you again, guys. Thanks, Jamar. Thanks, David. We'll take a very quick break and we'll be back with final comments.
This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, was brought to you by Jamaica National Group. We'll help you find a way.
Welcome back, guys. It is so good to see you all on. Let me take a few comments here from the group. Roswell says, dividends are about to be paid out. J. Russell, Javon, noting IPCL Apex Radiology is starting to show movements in the positive direction. They did their IPO just last year. What else do we have here? Roswell was asking, what about the other legs of the highway to be open? We just discussed that. Yeah. May that also add value to investors' outlook. The only thing is those other legs, we don't know when those are actually going to come. So right now we're taking note of the Mandeville leg, which is Maypen to Williamsfield, Manchester. Jermaine wants to know what's happening with CPJ. You guys love to leave these vague comments. What's happening? You tell me what's happening at CPJ. And then we can look into it, right? What is going on with it? What have you noticed? Let me see. What else? Roswell says, nice discount in the market. CEO still watching their money. Even when we hear good earning report, we don't have a lot of real investors in Jamaica's stock market. Persons hardly respond. Well, we saw them respond heavily to the TJH report, earnings report, financial results for the latest quarter. And like David mentioned at the end there, we also saw them respond heavily to the news from Cygnus. Richie says, I think the phosphorus stock price is dipping as a result of the buzz from the rights issue dying down. Roswell was the person mentioning that market dip low today. Phosphorus traded low, $2.14. Yeah. And then India Baby saying, buy the dip, people, buy the dip. Dip it low, bring it up slow, roll it all around, pop, pop, pop those stocks. I'm gonna show you how to make it, how to make your money go. Oh, I'm a hot mess, but I love you guys for sticking with me every single week, listening to my off-key singing, watching my off-rhythm dancing, and just participating in the show week after week. I want you to really join me inside the community. I want to continue these discussions. I want I want to have you talk to each other regularly, like not just on a Tuesday, but all the time about, what you guys thought about tonight's show, and asking questions if you have questions, joining me for our live conversation. If you have individual specific things that you want to ask me about money and other things as well, we can do so inside the Money Mission community. Reminding you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. Subscribe to the newsletter at KalilaReynolds.com/newsletter. And if you're a new email subscriber, you get a copy of my free broker guide. Turn on those post notifications so that you can be the first to see everything when it comes out. Sash, producer, is the Pulse feature out? Was it supposed to come out today, or is it tomorrow that it's coming out? Let me know in the private chat. Is Pulse up? Because we have a new feature coming out on Pulse. They have now completed Pulse Lofts, and boy, are they beautiful. They are special. Let me see what she says. Thursday, 7 p.m. That's going to be premiering on the YouTube channel. But I can tell you, we went to Pulse last week, and I got to see their lofts, and everybody in Kingston is selling luxury apartments and luxury this and luxury. And then I see the videos, and I'm like, well, where is the luxury? Like, what? You paint everything black and white and call it modern and luxury, and it just looked ordinary to me. Well, the views alone and the price point is very similar to what other similarly sized properties are selling for in Kingston, like in Golden Triangle, but you're getting views that you're not getting in Golden Triangle because it's in Stony Hill, and I feel like you're in Portland. When I tell you floor to ceiling windows, and when you look outside, it's lush green vegetation, and you hear birds chirping, and it just feels so peaceful, and it's right there in Stony Hill. Trust me, you're gonna want to watch that feature and contact Pulse. They have an open house coming up on May 21st, and you can see those lofts for yourself. But even before the 21st, you can get a first look on our feature coming up on Thursday, right here on this YouTube channel at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to help people learn more about money so we can all get this money together. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Kalila Ray. Follow KRM_business news on Instagram. And remember, those are my only accounts. I do not have any backup accounts. And if you want to connect with the analysts this week, check the description box below for their contact information. Also go to KalilaReynolds.com for financial information you can use however you like it. Watch, listen, or read. Strongly encouraging you to tell a friend about taking stock, because investing is the new sexy. Let's make it cool to talk about money. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Let's get this money.